What is it like living in Paraguay as a citizen of the European Union? I am here joined by Bart. He is a citizen of Poland and he recently applied for Paraguayan residency. Have you been approved too, or are you still waiting to be approved?
Temporary residency, I've got this certificate, but I don't have a card yet.
Okay, so he applied, but he's waiting to be approved. And today we're going to hear the perspective of an EU citizen and why Bart chose to come here to Paraguay to apply for residency. Please tell us what led to your decision. What were some of the main catalysts where you said, I'm going to leave Poland behind me to start a new life in Paraguay?
So the Paraguay wasn't the first obvious choice. It's not well-known country, at least not in Poland. I knew that I want to learn Spanish, that's the first thing, and I want to know the Latin culture more. Then I did some research about the economy, and not that I was going to look for a job in any of those countries, but from my understanding, if the economy is stable, suggests somehow, at least to some extent, that the country is more safe. If there are no people struggling with economy, they can be more peaceful. And this way, Paraguay seems to be a good choice. It's not a lot of going on over here. Maybe there are not that many opportunities like in the bigger countries, but for a person like me, it's very safe, and I don't have to worry about anything over here.
Excellent. So you are in IT, internet technology. Obviously, a big reason why people come to Paraguay is to lower their taxes, which I believe is something that you're interested in reducing as well. What do you expect in terms of tax savings? Do you see yourself saving a lot of money by living here? Or was there another catalyst where you said, I actually came to Paraguay not for taxes, but for other reasons? I know you pointed out how Paraguay is not the most economically strong country, right? It's not the country that gets the most attention, right? There are other countries in Southeast Asia that get 10 times, 20 times the attention, like Thailand, the Philippines, right? I'd say probably, if I had to guess, I have no official data in front of me to support this, but if I had to guess, for every, say, 10 citizens of Poland that go to Thailand, maybe one goes to Latin America. I don't know if that's a fair assumption or not, but from what we see and hear, there are more people going to Southeast Asia. Now, given the fact that you have an IT company, where do you see yourself benefiting the most by living in Mercosur?
So having a remote job in general, not necessarily IT, but any remote, gives me or anyone this opportunity to travel and work from all over the place. Tax system, I mean, my company, because I'm self-employed, is still registered in Poland, so I still pay taxes there, all this health insurance and stuff. So that wasn't a factor. I mean, I have to pay taxes somewhere anyway, so I know that system in Poland, I know how it works over there, so the percentage you have to pay is one thing, but knowing the system and not messing up with taxes is also a kind of benefit. Yeah, so if I know taxes over there, for me it works. I mean, saving money on taxes, I can see it's a thing because people take facturas everywhere over here. But for me, at this point, it's not a thing. I mean, maybe in the future, but right now I'm trying to focus on this lifestyle over here and try to meet people and embrace the culture.
Well, Paraguay operates a territorial tax system that you could benefit from because you're not from a country that applies citizenship-based taxation. As a citizen of Poland, you can go live anywhere you want. In your case, you decided to retain the company for obvious reasons. You get certain benefits out of that, so you don't want to close your company down, and I'm sure it's going to have a lot of benefits when the time comes for you to retire, because you're going to have access to a pension, a European Union pension, and that's obviously a big benefit to keeping your company, paying these taxes. And as we've talked about privately, the taxes in Poland are not as bad as they are in other EU countries. You know, they're not the lowest, but they're also not the highest. You know, they're not the worst, but they're also not the best. Right?
Yeah.
So, well, great. Why did you choose us? You know, there's so many service providers out there. You mentioned something before privately. Maybe can you elaborate a little bit on that when we were having lunch, how you ended up choosing us. There is a lot of competition in this market, and more than ever before. But we'd like to hear why Nomad Elite and why not another company.
Yeah, that's true. We talked about this kind of market of companies that help foreigners to move to other countries. And I shared my experience with some other company in Canada that supposed to help foreigners to move to Canada, and it was a big scam. So that gave me a lesson how to be a little bit more fussy, let's say. And I watched one video and another one on YouTube. I can see that it was kind of honest. Then the following were also about the good and bad things, about not only about the Paraguay, but in general about living abroad. And that builds step by step this confidence. So it's not that I picked your company as a first shot, but I did some research, and that's how it works. So the trust has to be there, otherwise it won't work.
Is Paraguay a plan A or a plan B for you? Where do you see yourself in the next 12 to 24 months?
So at this point, it's a plan A, I would say. It's a pretty good for living. Internet connection, landline, fiber, 3, 4, 5G works fine. At least here in Asunción, I have no experience from El Campo, but over here everything works more or less the same as in Europe. No issues with it. So yeah, for now, Paraguay is plan A. Maybe in the future I will travel around to visit other countries, but maybe.
If you're interested in relocating to Paraguay, if you're an American, Canadian, EU citizen, Australian, New Zealander, you're looking to come to South America for more freedom, you want to lower your cost of living, you want to lower or completely eliminate your taxes, and most importantly, live happily and peacefully, please book a consultation with me today. Go to nomadelite.com and click on book a consultation. I look forward to welcoming you to this beautiful country in South America. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you on the next video.